Well, hello and welcome to the Confused Breakfast. Do you remember the joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
I do.
Hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch. But there was wow. But there was something truly special about riding your trusty steed down to the local Blockbuster to browse the aisles for a movie to take home with you. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. My name is Mike Schulte. Joining me, as always, two dudes who are infamous, whatever that means. Sean Pryor and AJ Vance, how the heck are ya?
I'm pretty sure that means like local celebrity.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like you're infamous, so meaning you're famous inside of somewhere.
In an area.
Yeah.
Of
You're
some sort.
currently you're famous. Like right now you are famous.
Right now you're infamous. Like at some point we may become out famous.
It's true.
too.
Yeah. If we leave here,
Yeah.
we have to become infamous somewhere else, or our status is out famous.
Out famous. Yeah.
I've been in the paper.
Yep. That's a good point. And on TV. Well, kind of. But hey, how have we never thought about that the entire time we were doing this? You never have to leave your couch.
And now we have a couch. If you're listening to this, tune into our YouTube. We have officially revamped our studio, and I'm sitting on a couch.
If we sound more voluptuous, more sensual, a tone to our voices, it's because we're holding space, man. You know what I'm saying?
People are really holding space for the Confused Breakfast now.
We decided to hold more space for us and a guest when they want to come in.
Yeah.
So.
And until then, this is your spot right here.
Yeah.
This is you. Come on in.
Get comfy. You never have to leave the couch.
Well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss a movie that brings together Chevy, Martin, and Steve in a PG-rated American Western comedy, a movie that gives us our favorite singer-composer of all time, Randy Newman, a movie that has not been reviewed by any other movie podcast I checked, and I promise we'll never do a movie that any other movie podcast has ever done. We're, of course, talking about 1986's Three Amigos.
Arriba.
Well, dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with the Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax,
Arriba,
and
like
enjoy
Yeah.
wherever you are in the world.
A single
Take it away,
Reba
boys.
McEntire.
A Reba McEntire. Get out of here. Well, if you are new to the podcast, we're going to be reviewing Three Amigos with a modern eye, scene by scene. But in order to do that properly, we believe we must talk about it nostalgically first. Sean, what was the first time you saw Three Amigos? What was your thoughts about it way back in the day?
Curious to hear what you guys say, but this is a dad movie.
Dad.
Okay. This is a Sunday morning. He's hungover. I just got my cereal and my juice probably, and he's like, "We're watching Three Amigos." Okay.
You just described, my Sunday for me and my son.
Hell yeah, man.
Full
kidding.
circle, man.
The ball doesn't roll too far. So he would pass out, and I'd have to. Well, I'm like, this is funny, so I keep watching it, and I finish it. And when I finish it, what I think about it is probably a 5.8.
5.8 nostalgically for Sean. AJ, what about you?
I'm going to go off of my kid brain who thinks it's funny because other people think it's funny brain for this nostalgic rating.
Yeah.
So everyone thought this was, in my family, this is like the funniest movie on earth. Like, this is hilarious. And it was funny, and there are parts that I thought were funny, but my kid brain also took it very literally in the sense of like, oh man, why is he going to give him that big gun instead of the little gun? Yeah, you don't want to die. Why do you want to die anyways? I didn't understand a lot of this movie. A lot of jokes went over my head. It was still very funny to me, and I was just along for the ride. Therefore, I was trying to just be along for the ride at maybe like, let's call it like a 7.85. Huh?
7.8. No, that is very important. You say it's a dad thing, which is very interesting. Why I told my dad that we were doing Three Amigos. He's like, yeah, I never really liked that movie.
Dang.
So that is why I have actually never seen this, because it was on our dads to show this movie to us.
It's true.
And big Chevy fan, big Steve Martin, the whole gang. I loved them back then, but for some reason never saw this movie.
Interesting.
I thought it was like Three Musketeers or something, and I was like, why would they make a movie about candy bars?
I will say that I haven't seen this movie since. Like,
Of course.
I maybe watched it just that one time.
You didn't go, you know what we should watch tonight? Three Amigos.
I just never have felt the urge to watch this movie ever again until now.
There's like a stack of movies. We actually talked about this like a little bit in the Discord. It got brought up. There's a stack of movies that you're just like, oh yeah, that's a movie that I remember vividly from childhood.
Yeah.
And I don't have any desire to rewatch it. This card falls into it. It does.
Let's watch Flubber again.
Yeah.
Well, we do have an executive producer on this. Josh Miller is the one that chose this movie. He said, I'm pretty excited for this one. I definitely saw this one in theaters. I loved this movie as a kid. I saw this time and time again on VHS. Yes, we owned the movie on VHS, and I don't know how we got it. VHS tapes of movies were incredibly expensive back then. Growing up, we had one of those Chevy conversion vans where the back was retrofitted with big captions chairs, and it had a small like 13-inch TV and VCR. Three Amigos on repeat was better than listening to James Taylor and Jimmy Buffett for the 13,000th time.
Wow.
I'm pretty excited to see how this movie holds up for me today. This is one of the few that I loved as a kid but haven't seen in years. It's easily been 30 plus years since my last viewing of it. I saw it on one of the streaming platforms and started it, but stopped after the first few minutes, thinking this would be an excellent choice, as so rarely does a movie come along that I loved when I was young and haven't rewatched at some point along the way. That being said, there are so many quotes that I still use to this day, including the Three Amigos salute. As a kid, I never really appreciated Martin, Short, and Chase as comedic actors, but now I revere them as some of the best of all time. Nostalgic score, 9.0.
Damn.
So that's 7.55 for us on the nostalgic meter, which ties it with Office Space in the 68th position.
Okay.
That's where it is. That's where it lives. No longer, though, because it is all about modern day from here on out. That's why we got to go to Sean first. Teach us the important details of the movie, Sean. What do you got, man?
Produced by George Folsey Jr., Leslie Belsberg, Steve Martin, and Lorne Michaels. Written by Steve Martin, Lorne Michaels, and Randy Newman. Music by Elmer Bernstein. He does it with stuff.
He makes glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cinematography by Ronald W. Brown, edited by Malcolm Campbell, and directed by John Landis. Maybe third, fourth movie that we've covered.
Probably.
It's Blues Brothers. This something else. Cast: Steve Martin, Martin Short, Chevy Chase, Alfonso Arau, Tony Plana, Patrice Martinez, Kyle Wolf, Fred Asparagus, Benita Enria, Diana Ortelli, Phil Hartman, Brian Thompson, Joe Mantegna, and John Lovitz. Steve Martin had the initial idea for the Three Amigos while he was on SNL and wrote a treatment for it that he had two other writers do a draft of with him. Martin did not like what those writers did with the story, so he brought the script to Lorne Michaels, where Michaels suggested that they just write the damn thing. And everyone knows that you can't have a Steve Martin and Lorne Michaels writing a script without Randy Newman.
No, it makes sense.
You just can't have them doing anything if Randy Newman's not involved.
They walked into that room and oh, that's fine.
Yeah, see, I tried. We're still working it out.
Working out the bugs, the kinks. I just think Steve Martin walked in there. He's like, "Hey, where's Randy? Where's he at?" It's just like, if he's not here, I'm walking.
I can't deal with Lorne.
Yeah,
if Randy's not here.
If Randy's not here to moderate.
This is his only writing credit as far as like words on a paper, story wise. With the original title Three Caballeros, the film needed a director, and just like every movie ever made, this was almost directed by Steven Spielberg. Spielberg was signed on to the film, wanting to continue his stint in comedies after 1941, but after the box office returns and reviews came out for 1941, Spielberg chose to focus on his other project, E.T., instead.
Okay.
Meh.
It may have been on the suggestion of Spielberg, but definitely on the comedic merit and successes of John Landis's films that he got hired. When Steve Martin finished the script, he originally envisioned himself, John Belushi, and Dan Aykroyd as the three amigos. While Spielberg was signed on to the film, on top of Steve Martin, he wanted Bill Murray and Robin Williams.
Oh.
It'd be crazy.
Man.
Be pretty crazy.
That'd be crazy.
Another version of the film would have had John Candy as one of the three, but it said that he was too big to ride a horse.
Yep.
It was something about he's too big, sure. Also, he just didn't know how.
Yeah,
what he was saying.
I think the horse was too small.
I think, well,
too small, not open-minded, and mean-spirited.
look, we saw it later on in what is it? Wagons Go West or something? Wagons West or
Yeah.
something
Wagons
like that.
East.
Wagons East.
Yeah.
something like that. He was riding horses.
Yeah.
So, bullshit.
Although Candy was not on the film, he did suggest Martin Short for the film,
Cool.
because they had worked together on SCTV, and Chevy Chase was just cast because SNL. When the film was completed, John Landis wasn't around much due to his ongoing trial from what happened on the set of the Twilight Zone movie. Do you guys know anything about that? Just quick, because it's part of the story. The Twilight Zone movie is a like creep show or anthology story. So John Landis was on one of those, and his film. In the film, they had an actor, and he was carrying two kids under each of his arms, and while there was a real helicopter above them, and something happened with the helicopter and went down and sliced them in half.
Oh, awesome.
There's a documentary on Shudder about like movie nightmares or something like that. You can see it.
Don't like that.
They show it, and it's like, oh fuck, that's two people getting cut in half by a helicopter. Awesome.
Good.
It's fucking horrible, and like he went to trial for this, obviously, because of unsafe working conditions, and the children that died were like working overnight, and that was illegal.
Oh Jesus.
God.
A bunch of shit. So he was a bit preoccupied and not able to be around for a lot of the edit of this movie. The one he did turn in, the studio did not like, so they recut it without him, getting rid of some scenes with other characters, including ones portrayed by Sam Kinison and Fran Drescher.
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, when they were making the Blu-ray for this, Landis was like, hey, let's get those scenes. Like, people would love to see Sam Kinison perform with Steve Martin, probably. But they're gone for good, unfortunately.
Oh, damn.
Oh, jeez.
Three Amigos was released on December 12th, 1986, and on a budget of $25 million, the film made $39.2 million at the box office, and a very modest taking, but the film has gone on to become a cult classic.
Well, thanks, Sean. Next, we got to go to AJ. He's going to give us the critical and fan rating response, all the reviews. What do we got on this one?
Well, guys, wherever you find it, that's where it will be. It is the tomato meter. It's the tomato meter. It's the tomato.
That's good. That's good, guys.
I didn't breathe heavy enough for the the 14-second.
You never get ready for it, It just comes right at you.
No. Well, there it is. 45%.
Tied with Waterworld of any movie we've ever done.
You don't say.
What do you think about that, AJ?
Well, Ulysses got Sam Kinison would have made it. Yeah, 67% on that popcorn meter. 6.5 on IMDb.
You would think 6.5 is good. You're like, 6.5, that's pretty good. That's better than average. And it's not. It's bottom 20% of all the movies we've done, tied with Twister, Cliffhanger, Air Force One, and Weekend at Bernie's.
That's all bangers, bro.
It's
not
what
even
the fuck.
Technically, that's not even a D+.
No.
So
No.
well, I'll tell you this, all bangers. Los Angeles Times gave this the high ranking, 80 out of 100. There's hardly a moment in Three Amigos that isn't silly. Make that incredibly outrageously and breathtakingly silly. Maybe that's why this tale of a trio of inept silent movie stars turned real life heroes is such a goofy delight. It's like a cross between a big budget Three Stooges movie and a Hope Crosby road picture, with dozens of old cowpoke gags thrown in to spice up the brew. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
How about this? Roger Ebert, he didn't like it.
Well, you don't say.
I know. It wasn't serious enough for me. I need some...
If you're gonna do a Western, gotta have some drama.
Where's the spaghetti? Roger, there's no actual spaghetti. Well, it says spaghetti.
That's what it says.
And marinara.
2.3.
All great farces need a certain insane focus and intensity that declares how important they are to themselves. This movie is too confident, too relaxed, too clever to really be funny. And yet, when the cowboys sit around their campfire singing a sad lament, and then their horses join in, you see where the movie could have gone.
So
right.
he wanted more of that?
He wanted more of it.
I get it.
Like I say,
we'll get there.
He wanted more of that loosey-goosey spaghetti, man.
Yeah. Slithery slapping down his throat. He doesn't chew spaghetti. He just like...
Yeah, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up.
You know, like people eat like fucking ramen, like,
which I guess is how you're supposed to eat it.
Yeah,
but
well, I love Westerns.
Well, they make spaghetti Westerns. Why don't they make ramen Westerns? Yeah.
Cheeseburger Westerns.
Cheeseburger
Easterns.
What the heck? Where's the pho Westerns?
Easterns. Yeah, you know, spaghetti Westerns and pho Easterns.
They got ramen Easterns. You fucker.
I mean, technically. Technically, like, a lot of Westerns were inspired by Kurosawa films.
I bet they were.
Like samurai films. Whatever, man.
You don't have to convince us, sir.
No, actually.
Just take the belt and shut up.
All right.
Give it back. You ruined it.
TV Guide had something to say, but I'm just not going to read it. That was better. That was more entertaining.
Yep.
This is... they were lower than Roger Ebert. So, yeah, this is 6.5 for IMDb. Here's one of those ones that contributed to that. Awfully silly, said Grace 14 in 1999. Man, the internet was a booming place in 99.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for you, like, this was like a high-end club to be in.
It's just like today. If no one's going to listen to you in your real life, online we go.
Online. I'm usually picky about which movies I see. This was one of the very few times I say to myself, I deeply wish I had not seen it. How can anyone write such a silly script, let alone act it? Gosh.
Money.
It is. There's one. This movie made me wretch. Said T.W. Guyton. This was in 2006. Without a doubt, the worst comedy ever screened. You would have to be drunk to tolerate this. Don't even waste your time, let alone money. Now we're getting into money. Hell, don't waste the booze. This should be used to interrogate terrorists.
What?
I do not believe children could find it funny. It was so silly it was painful. I can find more humor in an animal shelter. Jesus Christ. He's a sick person. I am more disappointed in Steve Martin and Chevy Chase. I have the utmost respect for their other works, but I have never cared for Martin Short. I would give some spoilers to prevent someone from watching this, but I would not care to recount most of this movie. Man, I wish there was a way to score this lower than 1, or perhaps a negative score. It is beyond me how anyone remotely found any entertainment value whatsoever. A masterpiece of understatement. Great.
Okay. So, like, by interrogating terrorists with this, would you just be like, if they started to quote it because it's so funny, you just execute them on the spot?
I imagine that, like, if they use this to interrogate people, I feel like it would just be the scene of Super Troopers of them watching John Chimpo and smoking. Like, that's it. That's what comes to mind.
Cool.
Yep. This is a 10 out of 10. Great stuff. Also a 99. Pinhead 6. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Fuck Grace.
Yeah.
You know?
Fuck that.
Pinhead over here.
Man.
I'm glad Comedy Central is playing this movie again. It's really a funny flick. It's got 3 of my favorite comedy guys. Well, 2 after Clifford things went kind of downhill for Martin Short, liar. And it keeps me laughing. I picked it up real cheap at Walmart, and I'm glad I did.
Jesus.
Oh.
On the new chair.
On the new.
AJ did this.
What are you doing?
Keep it going. It just exploded on me.
All right. Huge success. Last one, guys. Movie Kid 2, 98. This is the best film that John Landis has ever done. I like this one and the Blues Brothers. Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Martin Short, fantastic threesome. I loved the film because it is mixed with comedy and drama, and mostly it is comedy. I should recommend this to all of you people who especially like John Landis films, because this is a classic that you, yourself, and I will love. Huge success. Thanks, Movie Kid. Little Lebowski, Urban Achievers.
Yeah, buddy.
We got them. They're here. They hang out with us. They're friends.
If you want to be a part of it, patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. That's where you can get your thoughts, your name, your words read on an episode.
There you go. Derek, for real. My aunt made me a Three Amigos costume when I was 4 because I was obsessed with this movie. I think we wore out the VHS.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
Let's see. Mike G. At least once a week, I ask someone, would you say I have a plethora? Their answer is definitely a test to if you're cool or not.
Yep.
It's a great litmus test.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He also added
yes.
My Little Buttercup and Blue Shadows on the Trail are way catchier songs than they have a right to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree 100% on that.
I didn't realize that they weren't real.
Nope.
So,
Okay, Randy Newman.
yeah.
Give it up to you, man.
Giving it up to you, sir. Alex Navarro. Last one, guys. Growing up in my house, there were at least 3 movies everybody needed to watch to understand my family. Mystery Men, Rocket Man, and Three Amigos. To this day, we still quote it. Words like plethora and infamous are forever changed in everyday conversation. I remember my mom would always fast forward the campfire scene. It's the only part of the movie she hates.
What?
I could see why, but her hatred for the scene makes me love it even more. So, trying to watch it with a modern eye is nearly impossible with it being such a warm, nostalgic memory for me. We've seen this trope before, Galaxy Quest, and even The Man Who Knew Too Little. There's something special in Three Amigos. It's got that Short Martin Chase charm that can't be compared. 9.0.
Well, my dudes, I know our fans are ready to start the scene-by-scene review, but first, I have 3 demands. 1, that you stop harassing the people of Sanapoco. 2, that all land of Mexico be redistributed equally among the people and a proportional system of government be established consisting of 3 separate but equal branches, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Okay. And 3, that girl Carmen be returned to me unharmed, because where there is injustice, you will find us. Where there is suffering, we'll be there. Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find the Confused Breakfast.
Confused Breakfast.
Here we go. So scene 1. In 1916, Carmen searches for someone who can come to the rescue of her townspeople. While visiting a small village church, she remains to watch a silent film featuring the three amigos, and believing them to be real heroes, sends a telegram to Hollywood asking them to come and save her town from El Guapo. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, the three amigos actors Lucky Day, Dusty Bottoms, and Ned Nederlander are demanding a salary increase from their boss, Harry Flugelman. It doesn't go well. Can I mention that sometimes when I start a movie, you know, my house is finally quiet and I'll get it queued up on the streaming service, and then I'll usually hit play as I like walk into the kitchen to like maybe get the popcorn or get a little whiskey.
Yeah.
And usually the intro's a couple minutes of just bullshit.
Yeah.
This might be the fastest start to a movie that we have watched. It is like song starts. Here's the production company. We're on horses singing you a song.
Yeah.
You have Martin Short, Chevy Chase, and Steve Martin on screen together right away.
Yeah.
We just wanted to make sure you knew what you were in for. Here you go.
We talked about Super Troopers a couple weeks ago, in that intro.
Yeah.
I think this might be up there for me as
Think
like
so?
as far as like comedy wise. Like this, the held out falsetto thing is so funny to me.
I don't think it's ever done. It's never been done in such a way. Like it's a 14-second long hold.
That
14
normally
seconds.
I'm so mad about this.
Oh yeah.
Normally I'm so mad that they're doing this.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, Mike's gonna be pissed about this, and then I thought I'm gonna do this during the tomato meter intro.
And then you forgot all about it. You're like, who cares if Mike's pissed about it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. That's the weird thing about stuff like this. When it's done perfectly, it's good. When it's unnecessary fluff, I don't want it. Like I don't have time for it. But this is just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
short. It's short and sweet. I mean, like 14 seconds for that just held out falsetto. That is the joke. Yeah,
That is the joke.
But like this whole intro is just so short and sweet, and the song is so good too. Like, but I do like that it's in camera too. Like they're all three in camera on horses, and they're just like. But like never breaking, never at all, and on perfect time, just kind of wrap it up. You know?
That's the genius of these actors is they're so good at acting that they're acting like they're holier than thou actors.
Yes.
Because even though like they finish the 14-second hold and they're all looking around going,
Yeah.
that is hard to do, to make yourself seem like a fucking like nobody likes these guys.
Yeah.
You know, and they're making themselves seem that way. It's just they're so seeing these three together is an absolute treat.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is like one of Martin Short's first things too.
It's like one of his first like
actually
bigger things. I think.
wrote this down. I was wondering. So I was thinking, how was this billed back in the day?
Yeah.
It was Chevy, Martin, and then Martin Short. But here's the weird thing. So if you go back to this year, in '86, Steve Martin hasn't really done too much. I think he would have been known for like his comedian stuff.
Film wise, yeah, but like he was a superstar in the comedy
Yes.
world. Yeah,
But film wise,
selling out stadiums.
Yeah. What's really weird about this is that after this movie came out, Little Shop of Horrors, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Parenthood, Father of the Bride. Like, he went on a rampage.
There was like like three of those are in like 1 year, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He took the next step to film guy after this movie. But Chevy was on a run when this came out. He had just done Spies Like Us, European Vacation, Fletch, and Caddyshack.
Okay.
And he was only on Saturday Night Live for like 2 years.
Okay.
I think he was the first 2 years and then he was out.
Yeah.
So he had become a full-fledged movie star at this point. But Martin Short, pretty much just TV, fairly unknown stuff up until this point.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so interesting. They were talking about Rick Moranis in this role. Did you hear that?
For
I did
Ned
not.
Nederlander?
Could you have imagined?
They wanted John Candy because it's John Candy, and when they couldn't get John Candy, they thought Rick Moranis. And there's like, you know what? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then you think about this though, and then John Candy recommends Martin Short. So we have John Candy to thank. We might as well light a fucking candle.
Yeah.
A John Candle?
We need a John Candle for he is responsible for giving us Steve Martin Short.
Steve Martin Short?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one responsible for our Chase commercials. You know?
Do you like Martin Short do you like him in this role? Do you think he was a good fit?
I think he's fantastic in this. And like he doesn't, I mean, Steve Martin has the most to do in this probably, but Martin Short, I think him and Steve Martin together, their bits are fucking classic in my mind. Like they're unbeatable.
They're unreal.
Yeah.
Like Martin Short being in this movie, I think when he is on screen, if it's all three of them, usually you're focusing kind of on like Steve Martin, but when it's like when it's Martin Short and just one other one, you're just like, I'm only watching him.
Yeah.
He runs away with this a lot, I think.
I think so too. I mean,
it's like he's fighting for his life on this one.
Yeah,
and it's great.
honestly,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, and I think Steve Martin, this is probably my favorite Steve Martin.
Okay.
We haven't done The Jerk yet, but like this, he is outstanding in this movie. And in Chevy Chase, I'm not a huge fan of. I think we kind of gather that throughout.
Most people are not.
The movies that we've done, just his attitude, I guess. You know, I don't
him
know
as a person.
Yeah, I don't know the man personally. Like when he's on screen, it's fucking amazing.
This might be my favorite Chevy Chase role
because, and I think I might agree with you because I think he's secondary. I think maybe even third to these guys.
He's not the main guy.
I like the less dose of Chase.
He's a third wheel of these guys.
Yeah, and like he's the dumbest one.
Yeah,
I think he nails that. I think that's where I like Chevy Chase the most.
Is it because you like the fact that he was willing to not be the main character who gets the girl, who is the hero? He was just like, you got to play this dumb guy who doesn't know shit. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, like John Candy was supposed to be Ned Niederlander. I think John Candy should have been Dusty Bottoms. Because I think of all the jokes that happened that Chevy Chase is doing, I just think I truly believe John Candy could have probably delivered them better.
I mean,
if not just as good.
If we're talking John Candy and Chevy Chase, every day John Candy.
Yes,
sure,
every day.
But it's just one of those things. Like I go back and I like deep fake it in my brain of like it being John Candy instead. I'm just like, God, they've been so good.
They're so good though. That's why I love these three together, and I would love what they were willing to give up for this movie. Like when they're doing when we're watching the movie, the black and white silent film of them.
Oh God,
how bad of actors they are. We've said that before. Like a good singer can't make themselves out of key, you know, and make themselves into a bad singer. So for these good actors to really be bad is amazing. Like when their bad makeup, when Steve Martin looks at the camera and then looks away and then looks back and goes,
yes,
shit like that is so fucking.
But it's
awesome.
so true of like those kind of silent films, like and like even the makeup they had. I think it was like a lead-based makeup that they used back in the day. They actually used lead-based makeup, and then during the scene they used a set that they used for silent films back in the day. Like they went authentic with it, which I don't know about the lead-based makeup, but
hopefully not.
God, I hope not. That's
no, it was true that they did do that, but like
but this is '86. We've already learned the harms of lead-based paint at this point.
They used it, is what I'm saying.
Back in the 1900s, they did.
No, in this
they did.
No,
yes.
they didn't.
Yes.
What the fuck is the matter with them?
I don't know.
They saw. Yeah, I know about the Tin Man story. It's fine. Like. Well, they darken up the eyebrows and the lips. They like paint their lips and like they brighten up the like whiten the face against that whatever it's called, that type of film or whatever, right? And like it's again, man, it's that moment for me of like when it cuts back and Martin Short's just like,
yes.
The money when they give the money back.
Yeah. He wants to keep it. That's like
I love when he lassos the people up in the air. Or whatever. Like his look, he's like, it's so fucking good. And like Carmen watching this with Rodrigo, is so. I think it's just beautiful, to be honest. Like it seems like maybe even like one of the first movies that they've even watched.
Of course,
You know?
guaranteed,
Yeah,
man.
that naivete.
It's just but like the power of cinema, seeing these three amigos handle the bad guy. They're like, they think it's real, you know, or like, you know, people got their news from like films like this as well. And people just thought that it was real. And so Carmen thinking that they're real is so charming to me because it's through the lens of cinema. And,
It is pretty cool.
And like, there's something really beautiful about that. And then them actually being like in character so much so that it's kind of a detriment is just such a great setup. It's such a good writing, in my opinion.
It's beautiful to come from a world where someone did see their first movie ever and just was enthralled with it and
Just
thought it was real,
amazed.
to a world where we can talk about a movie and on TikTok people are like, you know, it's just a movie, right?
Yeah.
Didn't really happen.
We know.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Hey, there are a lot of really fun appearances by actors in this. We're going to point them out as we go. But did you recognize Carmen from anything we've done?
No.
Carmen was played by Patrice Martinez. The most interesting thing that I noticed, she was Miss Argentina in Beetlejuice in the afterworld, the green receptionist.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That is her. And Rodrigo. Do you know Rodrigo?
Oh.
No.
You didn't recognize Rodrigo is played by Philip Gordon. He is the kid at the end of The Terminator who takes the picture of her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Heck yeah.
There are so many really cool random things that I'll keep bringing up as we go, but
please do.
there's some great cameos in
Now
this
that you
one.
say that, I can see that. I mean,
Arriba.
fucking, what's her name? Patrice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Stunning in this
Stunning.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure we sexualized the shit out of her in Beetlejuice because. But like, you know, without the green makeup and everything like that, in this movie, she's beautiful.
It's pretty cute once you clean all the shit off.
Also, did you recognize that, like the town they filmed in, this old Western town? Did you recognize any of those filming locations from another movie we've done? Perhaps.
Ooh, Back to the Future. No,
No,
we haven't done that yet.
That church is from Tombstone. It's the same church from inside of
No
Tombstone.
shit.
Yeah, in one of the villages they go to. I
okay.
think. Yeah, it's a central town of over 60 buildings on 20 acres of land, located 15 minutes outside Tucson. That like tons of movies and TV shows film at.
okay.
It'd be really cool to go there.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, just walk around.
I'm down.
Prop.
Okay, fine. Prop. It's really hard to reach the new spot here.
Ooh, here's a prop.
I want the Jorge Martinez Cinema Ambulante car. I know I take
car.
I take vehicles all the time, but
You could just have the sign off of the side of it.
Yeah.
all right,
I mean,
No, you can have the car.
it's not gonna run anymore.
No, you can't have in this fake thing that we do. You can't keep breaking the rules. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Thank you.
Well, then I'm going to get to mine before AJ can have it. I obviously want the sweater they give El Guapo.
Yeah,
I knew it, dude. Sorry, man. And I want to wear it around my neck like he does. He genuinely loves that thing. He's very proud of it.
I want when they I want the tequila. I want the tequila that they drink at the bar.
the jug.
The jug.
Nice.
The jug of tequila. Not one of the glass bottles, decanter thing. I want that jug of tequila that makes them all like wig out
Hell yeah.
for 3 seconds.
How good is this scene, though, when they actually are in the studio wearing their little outfits,
It's great.
talking to Harry Flugelman? Did you recognize Harry Flugelman, obviously?
Was it Larry Flugelman?
Is it Harry? Is it
I don't know.
Larry?
Harry,
I forget.
Larry.
Mo. Yeah.
Let's call him Flugs.
Good.
Got
Did you recognize him at all from a movie that we've
Joe
done?
Mantegna.
Yeah.
From a movie we've done. I see him like very angry, and I always see him in my mind very angry at something, but I don't know what movie.
He was in Airheads. He was the studio.
Yeah,
He was the
duh.
DJ in Airheads.
Yeah.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, same
That's the
dude.
same guy?
Yeah. You feel it by his mannerisms and his voice are very the
Yeah.
same in that movie. and
Okay.
this. Yeah.
You're switching over to easy listening or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the two obvious ones at this point, though, Phil Hartman and John Lovitz.
Can I bring this up? I do have an issue that I'm watching this for the first time and I'm like, this movie's fucking great. Oh man. Oh fuck, we got Phil Hartman and John Lovitz, and then like that doesn't go anywhere.
No.
Like they're not funny necessarily, and they don't really serve a purpose or a role, and then they're gone and never come back.
I know.
It feels like a wasted opportunity.
Throwaway cameos like that for sure, I get it on some people, but for John Lovitz and Phil Hartman to be there, do what they do, and then just never be heard of again, it's like a joke in itself.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's like maybe that's just what they're getting at, but it's like it's kind of painful because I just want more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and to be even more ridiculous too, I think they're probably just buddies with all these three, you know?
Yeah,
or
probably.
like even John Landis or Lauren Michaels, and they're just like, yeah, we'll show up and do a scene.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to be on the Invisible Raptor sequel, you know? It's like we're just going to show up and be like, hey.
Yep. We're gonna John Candy and Home Alone on that movie. That's
yep,
what we're gonna do.
exactly.
Yeah. I fuck one of the lines is, again, Chevy Chase just being minimal with this is like, do you know what nada means? He's like, isn't that a light chicken gravy? You just
chicken gravy.
It's like shit like that is fantastic.
If you notice, he's very obsessed with like healthy foods, like watching his figure.
He is, isn't he?
Throughout this whole thing, and I slowly picked up on it upon.
What do they
rewatch.
say about, like, as we get on? What do they say about? Does it have carbs in it or something?
He's like, well,
tequila.
He says, well, as long as you got some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer. He's like, we don't have any beer, just tequila. It's like, what's tequila? It's like beer. It's like, well, it's like, is it fattening? Fattening. It's
like there's no way they would have been that way in 1916.
No.
That wouldn't have been a thing that they were thinking about.
Watching their figure for their cinema roles.
Yeah. It's just a very funny thing to me. And like they kind of make him look a little puffy in this. I feel like Chevy Chase.
Bit, yeah.
Maybe it's just the way he is at this point. I don't know. Like they make him fill out his costume a little bit more, I think. Like stuff like, I mean, on all of them, it's like super tight.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny little thing, you know? And so, but that on top of it, it just kind of it's a running gag that I never noticed as a kid.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
Well, let's do scene 2. Upon being kicked out of the studio, they receive Carmen's telegram, but misinterpret it as an invitation to make a film with El Guapo. After breaking into the studio to retrieve their costumes, the Amigos head for Mexico. Stopping at a cantina near Santa Poco, they are mistaken for associates of a fast-shooting German pilot. AJ, did you do the math on the 1,000 pesos?
100,000 pesos?
100,000 pesos.
On the yes, it would have been about 50,000 back then of American dollars.
Yes.
Meaning it would have been closer to like $500,000 now,
It's
right?
like they're saying like
Good Christ.
$650,000 is what the equivalent would be in today's. You go.
Yeah.
you go to Mexico to shoot this film with El Guapo.
What do you think their salary is on silent films individually? Like maybe $1,000?
I don't
Apparently
think
it was nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they were
that's
making
right.
anything.
That's right.
Because
if they were to make shit,
oh geez, I don't,
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
$1,000
Yeah,
or
maybe.
something. Like
Maybe. Yeah.
barely a living wage, I imagine.
And like, well, back then $1,000 would have been a lot, you know, like
That's true.
per
That's true.
film or whatever. 10,000, like getting 10K. I don't know. So, who knows? But at this point, all I can think about, or what were you asking here before? You're saying,
I don't know.
oh well, shit. Well, then I lost it.
yeah, we were just talking about the movie. It's called Three Amigos.
Yeah.
Wait, what movie were we talking about here?
It's got Chevy Chase. And,
Steve Martin's in it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You mean Martin Short?
I'm having so much trouble. Like if I'm saying the first name
I
or
know.
the last name,
I know.
I'm struggling.
Steve Martin Short.
That's why I say Steve Martin Short.
SMS, dude.
That's right.
And they're still working together to this day, which is awesome.
Yeah.
They're really good friends. They were on Howard Stern together in the last 2-3 years. They did an interview and like they're very close, good friends.
Yeah, they were on
Which is
Conan
awesome.
a little bit ago.
Oh,
as
yeah?
well. I love how we get going. Like they get kicked out of the studio, and they're in their underwear on the street. It's like this show business. Something always turns up. Boom, the bike courier. It's like it's a comedic bit, but also like yes, let's keep going. Like
Go.
Yeah.
Now we have our thing. You
they
know,
could have shown them for a week has passed and they're on the street
Yeah,
begging
like-
for.
Yes.
No, just go. Move on
and
to
he
the plot.
starts reading. He's like, "Dear three amigos, you are great." they all smile.
They're all so up their own asses about it. And like that's the thing. And that's what I was gonna say earlier too, is like we find out about how they don't make any money from these movies, apparently. They don't get paid anything, but they basically just get taken care of by the studio.
Yeah, they live in the studio. They get to wear the clothes.
Like everything, and like they're calling him in. John Lovitz just belongs in this time
Yes,
era.
he does.
Like it's just like, nah, see, like he's basically that
It's
guy.
like when he's in A League of Their Own. Like he just perfectly fits into
Take
the
that
role.
clothes.
Give my
Marla
wife,
Hooch.
you go home and give my wife the old pickle tickle and get back on the road.
Yeah, you see.
I love it so much.
I know. And like so, like he just has these moments. And then they're in their underwear on the street, and then they have to break back into the studio to get their costumes instead of just. Yeah, I don't know.
It's amazing.
Even that scene when he's like trying to get their attention. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. It goes on for so long.
It's like where it's the thing where it's funny and then it's not funny, but then it's funny again.
It goes funny again.
Oh, and then they get their costumes. They end up in this cantina, and like this might be one of the greatest from here on out. When they walk in, it's kind of like an Anna Faris situation in Just Friends. When she walks in the bar, she's like, "Yeah,
Yes, I know.
that's kind of how they are." Oh wow! Look at here we are.
I know.
Well, it's a little bit later, I think, but when they first get to Santa Poco, right?
Yeah.
The guy gives him like the letter. He's like, he just immediately takes it and signs it for him.
I just think they do it. And it's like, are you the?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it works so well.
Dude, what a setup too, because this
heard
on
of
paper this is a really dumb idea to have it be like, well, this guy comes in, he's like, you're gonna expect my friends, and then they walk in and now everybody's scared of them.
Yeah.
It's a really dumb idea, but I don't know why it works so well.
They're confusing their quote unquote starstruckism, but it's actually masked as, in their minds, masked as they're just scared of them.
Genuine fear.
That is so funny.
If the German guy hadn't come in, like they would have gotten like shot and killed in this bar, right?
Yeah.
It would have been over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about it is like
That's a
they
good
just didn't
point.
realize how lucky they were to have had
That's a
this
great
happen.
point. Yeah.
God, everybody
I mean-
in here just seems so grim.
Even for
You've only seen us on the big screen.
even for 1916, I think that this is shocking, showing up anywhere dressed like this.
It's today. If somebody walked in here right now in that costume, I'd be like, holy
Wow.
and actually I have a question. If the number one Halloween costume for 3 women is the Sanderson sisters from
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus,
Yeah.
how is this not the costume for
I
male?
mean, let's just say it right now. Let's just do it.
Can we do this
do
for
it.
the next
Let's
Halloween?
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they look cool as fuck.
we'll do a
It's
Halloween
awesome.
show, and
Yeah.
we'll be 3 amigos. All right, well then it's 3 of them and 3 of us, so we obviously have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Who's
Here it
who?
goes.
Shit. Okay. Well, how do you classify each of them? Like, what's the main characteristic of each of them? Is Steve Martin like the leader?
Steve Martin's like
Steve
the leader.
Martin's pretty much the leader.
He's the guy in the middle. He's always the guy in the middle.
Martin Short is interesting because he's like the youngest, but he also ends up being the biggest part of it almost. Like he's sort of the most important guy in this group
Yeah.
when all is said and done. And Chevy's just what would be his main quality of that character?
he interjects at like the most attention filled moments and gives it and diffuses that tension.
He also always has a guitar.
I'm gonna say strictly because of this. I'm gonna say that I'll be Chevy just because when he's like the acoustic guitar guy at a party. They're like, you should go play the piano. He goes, no, I shouldn't. And as he's saying, no, I shouldn't, he's
Yes.
walking up.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
I
That's
really
me.
should. He's doing Ron Burgundy pulling the flute out of his sleeve. He's just like, He's like, there's a piano over there. He's like, I couldn't. I'm already walking.
I'm going to go ahead and say that's me because if like I go to a bar and they're like, Mike, you should get up and play drums. And I should. Okay, I will.
You've already sat
prepared. And
so that leaves you two. Who's doing it?
Oh my God!
well, I could say, what are you doing to these beers?
Mine opened up fine.
Yeah.
Well then,
I want it. Well, yeah, I'm Ned Niederlander now.
Sean, Steve Martin, you're Ned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your lucky day.
Thank you.
Dusty Bottoms.
Dusty Bottoms and Ned Niederlander.
People watching out there, comment who would be who.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Based off with this conversation. But I mean, Little Buttercup, dude.
Little Buttercup.
How is this a song? Like I was joking in the intro about Randy Newman. I'm not a Randy Newman fan in any sense.
No.
But when I found out that like he actually wrote this, this is way better than it should be.
I don't go out of my way to listen to Randy.
I don't think anybody
He's not
does.
on my Spotify. Like, what?
I would be extremely
I want to see how many
interested in.
Spotify listeners he has
Oh,
monthly.
it's a million.
He's got plenty because they're listening to the Toy Story soundtrack.
Yeah. You Got a Friend in Me is a banger. And
you got a friend in me.
literally, I think all the songs that he wrote for this movie are bangers.
3.7 million
Yeah,
monthly
dog.
listeners.
He's
Yeah,
doing
man.
okay.
Hello, Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland.
Hey, Steve rolling down the
Come
river.
on over.
But like My Little Buttercup should not be this fucking good.
No.
And the fact that their dance moves,
Dude, they
making the locals like sing the words.
Yes. I mean, imagine what's so funny to me is because these locals are terrified. of them.
Terrified.
Yeah.
And to see them break out into song and dance, like, what the? They're psychotic.
These could go off at any point.
Yeah.
This is like Game of Thrones level sadistic scariness.
Oh my God.
If you flip the script, man.
Oh,
I'm serious.
And
That guy who they sit on, he's just like,
yes.
he doesn't want his hands to touch.
I love the editing in this because they cut back at the perfect moments to the locals every single time they're doing the rendition, and they're just like, it's I don't know, man. This is like maybe the best scene of the movie.
It's the boot click for me.
Yes, the behind. Yes.
Like you have to then take this back a second, and I'll peel this back because it's kind of a joke in itself again. They have all these like really what would be considered in like a modern day like Hollywood or anything like pointless talents.
Yeah.
yes.
Other than the fact that they are entertainers, and so it's like being a magician in frickin' Utah, right?
Yeah,
like, what's
yeah.
the point?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go to like do it? You know, but for these guys, Ned Niederlander is a genuine like gunfighter, even though it's fake. Everything he does, like all the bullets are fake.
Yeah.
he's still a genuine. Dusty Bottoms can still really throw a knife. These guys can still really dance this number.
Yeah.
like,
That-
and they're
that's true.
rusty.
That's
you know?
true. Yeah, like a lot of their performative things are like what they use later on to like actually fend off some of these assholes.
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny, and to watch them like just nail this dance number is top notch.
Well, let's do scene 3. So a relieved Carmen picks up the Amigos and takes them to the village. The next morning, when 3 of El Guapo's men come to raid the village, the Amigos do a Hollywood-style stunt show that leaves them very confused. The banditos ride off, making everyone think the Amigos have defeated the enemy and a party is thrown. The next morning, El Guapo and his gang come to Santa Poco, and the Amigos realize this whole thing is real, and they leave Santa Poco in disgrace.
I think it's a mail plane.
I was just a mail plane. What makes you say that?
Well, it's got the little balls.
Didn't you see the little balls? So what?
The plane has little balls. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they
Mail
don't.
plane.
They didn't get the joke. They
Well, it's funny because you can see Steve Martin slowly unraveling it, and like Okay.
I'd like to propose that Dusty doesn't actually get it.
No, I don't think he does.
He's laughing because the other guy's
Absolutely.
I think, and to your point, Mike, I think even by the very end of this, even Lucky Day is kind of like,
why are we laughing?
little ball, and then it's Martin Short's like just dedication to it, and his like his hand, he's just.
He's so caught up on how funny this is. Like he can't believe how funny that joke was.
Yeah.
And he keeps going until they get it.
And this is again, let's just let this run. It's like the joke time is 14 seconds.
Yeah,
probably.
We're gonna let this go for 14 seconds to let it sink in. This is the magic amount of time for a joke to become funny again. That's it.
It's the worst joke of all time. From all angles, and it's so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
Because of the way they delivered it.
It really is. I mean, like any other movie with different performers in it, I would probably be like, okay, can we just move? Like, I get it. I get that, like, it's not funny, so it's funny. Like, I get it. But with these guys doing it, I'm just like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
It's all of them. If these guys weren't in, I mean, maybe John Candy, maybe other, Rick Moranis could have pulled this off or something, but I don't know.
It's tough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get to the town, and obviously then the three banditos roll up, and they think it's a fucking show. The camera shots of them circling the guys, the fixed. Oh my God! You could not have picked a better, more like movie camera angle, because they think it's a movie,
Yeah.
a show, and that's the way it feels by seeing them circling them, and those dudes just be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
They're shooting like the town pretty much. They're shooting like water barrels or whatever the fuck, demanding tequila, and they're just walking downstairs like, I guess it's time to go perform. It's like, oh, these guys are pretty good. Are you kidding me? They're doing every cliche in the book.
50. They said 50. There's only 3. They better not pay us any less.
Well, it's a matinee, so
What do you expect for matinee? It's like all of a sudden, wait, right now?
yeah.
Oh God. Okay, well, get ready. It's like,
It's amazing because in the town is like, wow, they're so brave.
They are. Like, think about it. They don't know it, but like they're like, I can't believe they're doing this.
I mean,
right now.
to have like two and two together, like the juxtaposition of like them thinking that they're performing and that these guys are in on it with them, but also the town being like, wow, they are super brave. It's brave to go out on stage and or like on screen and do this shit.
yeah.
Either way, it's kind of life or death.
Yeah.
To be honest,
They need this money pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's so great because then they walk out, they kind of do their like they do this Three Amigos shuffle is all I can call it. And they're like,
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Dude, the look on Steve Martin's face, I'm focused on him the entire time. He's like, it's so good.
Sean, this is one of those movies we talked about in Dumb and Dumber where it's a different movie. If you only focus, you could watch this movie 3 different times and pick one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it brings new things to light every single time. Like Steve Martin in that scene's incredible, but did you see Chevy Chase too?
Yes.
He's hilarious. Do you see Martin Short? He's fucking funny too, man.
Especially later on when El Guapo does come to town. Chevy Chase, like they start doing a little bit of My Little Buttercup, and Chevy Chase is like,
because he's not playing the piano.
Exactly, yeah.
He doesn't know the dance.
just doing like jazz hands.
all right. It's just, and then they go and they run and jump on their horses that Carmen's bringing out, and then it's just and Martin Short dropping a line,
Yeah.
like
Line.
the line. Wherever there's a justice, and then he's upset about it later. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
Yeah,
I
forgot
dropped
a
a line.
line,
He's like,
though.
they aren't gonna notice that.
They
There's
won't.
no way they
No,
notice
no.
that. They don't notice that, man. So.
And then they have the party. Like even watching Steve Martin do the lasso tricks.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently learned that while he's working at a magic shop in Disneyland as a teenager. The fact that he was willing to relive that and like remember it and do it, just like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. You can tell he looks like a natural. Like
Completely.
it just came right back to him, like riding a bike.
Doing that one around his legs.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that has actually got to be super freaking hard.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't imagine how hard that must be to do that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's super easy. I have no idea. But again, it's one of those talents that they bring back around that will eventually save the day that I think is pretty awesome.
Maybe Chevy Chase's funniest moment for me is anyway.
I think he's actually playing the guitar too.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Oh, yeah.
studying it. It looked like he was playing it,
He's
man.
got a knee. He's got a knee going.
He does that, and then at the last second, it focuses on the old abuela going, fuck is this? Whatever, they saved the town. I guess we got to be here for them, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Even though, have you ever kissed a girl? Oh, yeah, plenty of people. Would you like to kiss me? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Well,
Oh, right now?
I was thinking
Here?
when we could go out on the veranda.
You could kiss me there. The lips would be fine.
that is such a Chevy Chase joke.
Oh, yeah.
But that is what fits him so well. That kind of a style of joke. Yeah.
absolutely.
That's why I thought Sean should probably be Dusty Bottoms. But I just,
The subtle jokes. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not that funny.
like, and then again, by the way, when they first got into town, he's like trying to eat that taco, and it's all falling. And he's like, "Do you have anything here besides Mexican food?" It's just like,
Yes.
just more of him, just like wanting something different to eat and wanting not Mexican food in Mexico.
Even when Martin Short is sitting on the steps telling that just stupid fucking story.
About Lillian Gish's sister.
Kid, you've got it. Wow.
Man.
I have a feeling that is exactly what it's like to talk to anyone from Hollywood. Like, they have this story of like some stupid fucking name drop where they said something, and I've carried it with me ever since. Yeah. I've taken space with this. I've held space with what Gish said to me. It's like, and those kids are like, what?
Who the fuck are you talking about?
He plays that so well, because that's not how he would be in normal life, I'm assuming, but taking on the role of an actor, like holier than thou kind of thing. Oh my God, it's so great.
The way he's telling the story too, he like picks a spot for him to like recall his memories. And then she said, "You're great," and I was like, "Wow,"
because you thought it was gonna go somewhere. You thought this was gonna be that's it. Okay, cool. Anyway, can we go back to the party?
I love how they're fucking hungover as shit in the morning.
So, are they hungover, or was it because the bells were going off and that they didn't get any sleep?
Well, maybe both.
It's
both.
What's
probably
the
both,
difference?
right?
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
That's like saying, "Are you hungover?" It's like, no, I'm just tired from being up drinking all night. Like, what's the difference, man? It's
is that what hungover means? Yeah, that's fucking. And then the fact that El Guapo's in town now, he's got the men, and they're like, "Fuck, shit, we got to go out and perform again."
Yeah,
this is great because El Guapo. Who plays El Guapo?
Alfonso Arau, I think this is his name.
He's really fucking good.
Really good. I'm glad you thought so too.
I didn't know if I would, because like, you're just giving me a bad guy who we don't care about, and we've got the three amigos. But man, him and like Jefe, together,
same,
they're pretty fucking great. Jefe's very scary in this scene too. Like, when he realizes that this is real. This whole segment of him getting shot, real bullets.
It's so
You're in a
good.
lot of trouble, mister.
And when he finally looks at him, Jefe, and he's like, wait a minute. And he kind of does this.
He's feeling his bullets on his bandolier or whatever.
And he touches him. Wait here. It's real. It's real. It's real.
They're going to kill us.
It's right. They're gonna kill us. Like, there is a moment where it kind of shifts a perspective for you, because it's like, once he makes the realization that, like, oh, this is real, it's that shot looking up at El Jefe.
Oh, yeah. That's a great shot.
And it's like a very, very, like dominating presence, like a camera angle presence. That look on his face, you're just like, it's an oh shit moment. Mm-hmm. And they do it really good.
I love like Steve Martin's acting in this. He's like, kill one of them because I like him, you know.
I like him.
He gets nicked, I guess, in the shoulder. He's like, "Oh, what happened, man?" He's like, "I don't know." He shows them the blood. Like, he's like, "Hey, you guys made an error on set. You know, like, what the hell? You know, hey, mister.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking forward to working with you.
yes. It's like, tell us we'll die like dogs. And Steve Martin's like, it's going to be good.
By the way,
This is going to be really good.
the fact that he does in fact go up and ask him, let me see that.
Yeah.
Let me see that. And he gives it to him.
Real bull.
It's like,
I just can't believe how stupid these guys are.
like what's going on here?
Oh, it's just so great. And they leave and they pillage the town, man. This is just I'm watching it for the first time, man, and I'm just loving every second of this movie at this point.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I am loving every single second of this movie up until this point.
Up until this point.
Yeah.
There's a point where it turns.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, it's not there yet for me by any means, but as we get along to it, I don't know. But I do like El Guapo because he does play he is the sadistic version. He is what all those people in the cantina originally. He's the sadistic type of person that these guys would actually be. How am I trying to say this? They think of the Amigos when they came into that place as like crazy style killers. That's what El Guapo really is. That's who
they're picturing.
They're like, oh, this is like El Guapo times 3. This is terrible.
Yes.
So that's why it's so great, because El Guapo is very funny.
Yeah.
As a character, but he's also very scary. And I think it's great.
He's scary, but he's got like very much depth to him. Like he like kind of gives a shit about all of his guys, and he's like very nice to them. And the fact that they do give him that sweater and he loves it, and like, I love. You're supposed to hate El Guapo, but I kind of like him. I'd work for him.
I'd work for him.
The like relationship advice between him and Jefe. Say, well, do you think it's Carmen who doesn't want to come to your bed? Do you think it's you? Like, you ever ask yourself that? That scene, from here on out, there are like scenes that I like. I was loving the movie up until this point, but like now it becomes like a Western, you know, with like cool and funny bits sprinkled throughout, which is still enjoyable to me. It does kind of take a dip here for me.
Sure.
Well, let's go on to scene 4. So after wandering the desert, they decide to become real-life heroes and go after El Guapo. The Amigos find the hideout, but Lucky's captured and chained up in a dungeon. Dusty crashes through a window and into Carmen's room, and Ned ends up stuck in the piñata. While the others escape, Ned challenges the German to a quick draw and wins. Yeah, that's where it gets weird, right? Is that all of a sudden now we've got a burning bush, we've got an invisible swordsman, we've got a campfire where animals are singing and talking along. Do we think this is just supposed to be weird and funny, or do we think they took peyote?
I don't know. I think it's just supposed to be weird and funny. And like this is I guess a big discrepancy between like there was like real life comedy going on, and now it's like fantastical stuff,
correct.
Which I don't mind, and I do think a lot of this is funny, especially the campfire song. The song is amazing.
That's very great.
But like even the Invisible Swordsman is like, it's crazy you guys went here, but I'm on for the ride, and it just gets back to like being a regular movie, like with real shit happening.
Yeah,
that's where it loses me, where I'm just like, I liked this going on with the talking tree played by Randy Newman.
I could have done without that.
Yeah, I think I could deal with it if it kept that tone throughout.
It changes,
but it goes back to wanting to be like a Western and do like Sergio Leone shots of like the gun on the belt. You know?
It's one of those things that they just needed to inject more comedy, I feel like, into kind of this part that is going to be the least funny of anything, or like the least fun for sure. This like path of redemption. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this path of redemption is always going to be the least funny thing. It's like, how do we just like bring it back out of this? Well, make them go find a singing bush.
Yeah.
And then when they find the singing bush, and it literally is just that, it's a bush that is just constantly singing. And then they walk up to it and they say, "Excuse me, are you the singing bush?" Like, and it just keeps singing and singing. He's like, "Hang on, let me talk to him for a second. Hey, you, are you the singing bush? Hey!" It's just All right. Well, I'm just gonna assume this is the singing bush.
So dumb.
And then fucking Dusty Bottoms just doesn't follow the rule.
We all shot up in the air.
Yeah. We shot up in the air. It said to shoot up. How was I supposed
He
to?
shoots behind him. Like, Jesus, man.
Yep, he's dead. Like, how do you know?
That effect was really good.
I love that.
It today would be like fake dust
Of
poofing
course.
up, you know, but like, man, it looks good.
That's
good.
a fun practical little effect.
And speaking of practical, like we going back to the campfire scene, the backdrop,
Yeah.
and like the old school like look of like a setting sun western of like back in the day westerns that you would have like this even in black and white, but like singing a song and having the turtle say "Good night, Ned," you know. This was on top. Buttercup and then this were probably my favorite scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
Just because this song was so catchy, and I love the notion that I think it's Dusty, right, or maybe Ned, who like needs it's Ned who needs a song to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's
He's
just like,
the
oh, well,
child.
I'll do the you know the one I usually do. It's just like they do this all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Every night.
Little cowboy.
Yeah.
There is a cool moment for Ned though here, like when Ned has this little turnaround of like, no, we're gonna go back. Like,
Yeah.
what are we going home to? We've got nothing. I was actually blown away at how like badass Martin Short looked in this scene.
Yeah.
When he walked over there and like drew the line, and he was just doing the.
Men or mice? What'll it be?
Yeah.
And even when Steve Martin, who goes over first?
Lucky Day.
Lucky
Yeah, Steve
Day.
Martin.
Even he doesn't even make eye contact with Lucky Day. He's just staring straight ahead. He just looks like a badass in this
Yeah.
scene.
He kind of owns this. He starts to own this these moments.
Yeah.
You know, he really does. And especially like as we get to like, you know, into the final scenes and stuff. But yeah, he really starts to own this, and he kind of starts to become kind of the star of this, I think, a little bit more so. Even in the moments of like Blue Shadows, when he has his moment of singing,
Yeah.
I never understood it as to why like Lucky Day and Dusty Bottoms look at each other like, oh, he's singing now. Oh,
Yeah,
it's like
you're
he's
right.
stepping up. It's like
Yeah.
he's growing up a little bit or something. It's kind of funny instead of this being his lullaby.
Even this scene when they get there, like speaking of him, like when he gets caught in the pinata with his spurs. Like, this is great, man. They're having this, what is a huge birthday party for El Guapo.
Yeah.
And everybody's getting ready for that. Like, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, even I think it's before this where they're in the desert, right? And again, like just brilliant bits sprinkled throughout. Where they're like, you know, Steve Martin's out of water,
Oh my
and Martin Short's full of fucking sand.
Just has sand.
And then Dusty Bottoms he's just pouring water on him, and just like, and then he takes out his little fucking lip balm.
Lip balm.
Dude, that's really fucking. And then like he's not even done with the water; he throws it. It's like leaking out onto the fucking sand. That's a great bit.
That is a great bit.
Lip balm?
Lip balm. It's the equivalent of you had 2 pairs of gloves this entire
That's
time.
exactly what it is.
Extra gloves.
Yeah.
We're in the Rockies.
I did have to consult the Jarrett Layoff Confused Breakfast actor database. Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Phil Hartman lead with 4 movies.
Damn.
They're moving up the ranks. There were a couple that were 3. This was John Lovett's 3rd one, by the way, that we've done.
Dang.
It was
Wedding Singer.
and oh geez, what was the other one?
Big.
Yes, he was in Big as well. But there's a guy named Norbert Weiser. Norbert Weiser was apparently in The Thing, and he was in Hocus Pocus as well. I will look up and see what he was. But also
Weiser.
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson. That's who I was thinking
That
about.
is his 3rd one that he's done.
Yeah.
Cobra and what else?
Cobra and was it Running Man? No?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Does that count?
I don't know if that
I don't know
counts.
if they're counting it. Hang on, Leah Thompson, Brian. No, it's Cobra and the Terminator and 3 Amigos.
Okay.
It's 3.
I'll have your soul.
Actually, it's very
Cool.
Oh, duh. Okay, Norbert Weiser in Hocus Pocus was Banks's dad. It's like when they're I'll tell you one more time, witches, tell me where my son Thackeray is.
Okay.
It was that was him. He
Who
was
was he
also
in
in
The
the thing
Thing?
apparently.
Maybe he was cut out of it. I don't know.
In this movie?
No, The Thing.
I'll tell you what he was in the thing. I think he was just he was apparently like one of the army guys that showed up to like when they found the There's a picture of him like in full blown.
Let me see him.
Okay. Look at that. Apparently that's him.
Oh, he's he's one of the Norwegians, I guess.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fine.
So, nice.
Anyway, Three Amigos.
Was not prepared for that one.
That's not prepared.
Yeah, I mean, like this is all exciting when they like Steve Martin gets captured and everything, and like the Rube Goldberg kind of mechanism that he's stuck in.
So weird.
That is a thing where I'm like, it's okay.
It's funny because why didn't they just like bolt it to the wall and he's chained there?
Yeah.
That's what's funny, but it's also like, well, but that's not that funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like most of these scenes is where I'm just like, yeah, but I want to see you guys fuck around.
Yeah.
Not, I do appreciate by the end that like they, for their like obsession and dedication more to their acting career and to like these characters specifically and them as friends turn out to be like help it town. They actually realize a real movie that they had never filmed. I like that sentiment a lot. I just wish there was a little bit more comedy spread throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to always be the problem is that you come up with a funny idea, but then you're like, but we got to end it.
Yeah.
And that's always where a lot of these 80s, 90s movies, fine. You did your funny bits, but now it's like, well, it's got to have a nice ending and we need to do this, so let's figure out how to get there.
And it's hard for me to like judge it on that merit because we've seen so many movies like this that take this formula and we're like, once it comes to this, I'm like, well, I know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
I don't know the jokes that you're going to tell, so maybe you could do that. But that's what I mean by it. I'm like, I kind of know where this is going. They are going to save the town and it's going to be fun and everything's going to be fine. But yeah.
Very much in line with like, I think of like Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Which they made the joke out of, we don't even know how to almost end it. So they just take it off set. And you know what I mean? Like
that would have been funny if it did turn out that this actually was a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
true.
what?
It would have been. It would have been a great way to take it, but maybe it would have been too close to home for like with Blazing Saddles. And like it gets very fun. Like this whole, especially the points of like Chevy Chase, him going through after like rescuing, but then he kind of gets caught up in the whole thing. And is this where Ned has the gunfight then with him?
He did when the German shows up.
Yeah.
And they have the gunfight.
And I love this that he recognizes Ned as that he's like, you were my idol. And then he says, then I learned about trick photography. And the sincerity of Martin Short to be like, I never used trick photography. Like for him to be like, just be kind of like disgusted by the idea is like, oh, these guys are real.
Yeah.
This is where these like real talents they have start to come out.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hell yeah. So that's where I kind of get roped back in on it.
I get that because he does have the stand. Well, prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it pretty much. And he does.
He fucking
He
does.
blows him away.
Yeah. It's great.
Well, then final scene, escaping first on horseback, then in the Germans' plane, they return to Santa Poco with El Guapo's entire army in pursuit and rally the villagers to stand up for themselves and plan a defense. Eventually, all of El Guapo's men either desert him or die in the gunfire, and he takes a fatal wound as well. The Amigos then ride off into the sunset, ready to continue being real heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, 2 weeks in a row of insane stunt flying.
True.
Iron Eagle. This guy, I was almost like, is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Because, like, this is fucking hilarious when they're on the plane. And that plane's like, and they're hanging on the wings. I loved this scene so much.
This is really good. I like that I could see them writing this and being like, well, we need to introduce the plane somehow. Let's have Germans be there, and then like we'll make a joke out of it that Martin Short says earlier in the film that it has balls. Like the setup to it to get here, and that's what gets them back to Santa Poco is really funny to me. Like the whole rigmarole to like have this weaved in to make sense for the audience.
Yeah. And it's the idea of like, come on, what are you guys really great at? You know, you can defeat him. We're really good at sewing. Sewing. Hell.
Why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah. Why didn't we think of that?
But it's also so stupid. They're like they just made a bunch of costumes, but it's clearly like that. It's kind of good movie making that it is pretty much them in every scene. But it's like they're up there, get them, they're over there.
And also the fact that like I feel like this is the way it was. But anyways, sometimes it's hard to know. You're watching this all unfold, and you see them, and all of them look like they have like the really nice fancy costumes, like Hollywood grade costumes on, and then after the fact they all come out and they're all wearing just like kind of like crummy one, you know, like haphazardly put together costumes. And I thought that was very funny. But the fact that they take this idea from another movie that's just called Amigos, 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 and I'm just like, 3 amigos, god damn it. I just keep getting lost in like jokes inside of jokes.
Yeah.
And I maybe I overthink that sometimes, but at the same time I just don't care. And like if I recognize it, I'm so happy.
Yeah. And like in the fact that like I said, the sentiment that their career is going down the drain, or they were fired and kicked out of their studio.
Yeah.
You know, they have to find something else, and that like an idea from one of the movies that they made is what saves the town, you know, is a really cool sentiment, and I really like that.
It's kind of like it's basically like, remember the book, the Hardy Boys book?
Yeah.
They have one trail of jewels leading out to this cave, and then it's like they're taking this idea. It's the same idea. I don't know. It's a very fun thing for them to just for them to overwhelm all the bad guys, be like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
I'm outta here.
really the plan was just to like, well, we'll all give everyone guns and we'll just kill them all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll make costumes is really all they did.
Yeah, everyone can just have guns and we'll just fight back. Nope, you got to have costumes.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it.
We got to bamboozle them at the same time.
There was another random cameo here at the end of this movie. Did you recognize the hot senorita that comes up and kisses Ned? Didn't recognize her at all?
I think I may have read. You tell me.
She was like a Playboy Playmate, pretty famous back in the day, but she was in Ace Ventura. She was the one at the beginning, the dog. He saves your dog, and she's like, how can I ever repay you? That was in the purple.
Whoa.
That was exactly who that was. Same actress. Rebecca Underwood played that role. Yeah.
All right.
Deep cut.
Cuts.
I love that we never saw her ever.
Nope.
But
it's implied, right?
That Ned is like they fucked several times.
Oh yeah, yep.
And like this is going to be actually heartbreaking.
Good for Ned, you know. Good for Ned.
Getting out there, man.
Yeah, get out there, you know. Just
Dusty's look. He's like, wide-eyed Chevy is great Chevy.
Short doses of Chevy is the best way to do this.
It
and
really
that's why I
is.
think this movie's so great is that you said it earlier, Sean, he's not the main guy. He's not like the coolest guy.
Yeah.
It's just it's like you could never get him to do that again, I don't think. But like,
right.
It was so great for this role.
And Lord knows he tried. Like the first thing I read about this movie is that he had a fight with Landis.
Of course.
Like I don't know. I think that he had a bigger fight with him too. Like he said something on like a hot mic about the crash or about the tragedy on Twilight Zone or whatever. Chevy Chase said
Jesus
it.
Christ.
And Landis heard him and like almost like fought him on set. Of course. Just being shitty like that. But yeah, I mean, like you can't deny his performance in this. And I think Landis kind of reined him in, which is, I would imagine, hard to do.
Yeah.
It seems.
Especially at this point in his career, he's gigantic.
He's rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to rein him in maybe it's part of it though too. Is like, you know what, you are going to be the third wheel in this because I said so.
Because I said so. Do you want to be in it or
because
not?
I think because this is what it needs to be. I think that's the director. You have to give a director credit when they're going to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have star power like Chevy Chase and you utilize him as a third wheel, I think that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to say about Three Amigos, guys?
About it for me.
We have dissected it with a modern eye. Time to give Three Amigos a modern day rating. Sean, what do you got on this one?
Well,
John Lovitz.
Let me tell ya, boy. I kind of said it already. I think that most of this movie is fucking fantastic and like as good as comedies can get. I do think that this is a perfect like dad movie. Excuse me. To show like my kids when they're, 10, something like that. Be like, this is silly. Let's just check this out. I think that is where this movie lives. Is like a perfect Sunday morning movie, and we've been doing a lot of those recently, I guess. But like I said, I think this is one of Steve Martin's best things that I've seen him in. He is just on fire and a joy. You can tell that like him writing the script and him being mostly like the star of the thing had a lot to do with it, I think, where he's just so confident. You know what I mean? I think Landis makes a great movie, obviously. Like we said, using Chevy Chase as more of a third wheel and Martin Short kind of bursting onto the scene with this movie is amazing. And then like it kind of just falls off. Whatever. It's still watchable, still a fun movie, still a good time. I'm going to give this I'm going to go 7.5.
7.5 Shawners. AJ, what about you?
Man.
Man.
7.5 is going to be tough.
Steve Martin Short. The first installation of that we really get, and all three of these guys went on to be like great friends, throughout the rest of time, pretty much up to this day. And it's still so enjoyable. It's a moments movie for me, though. There's a lot of moments that I really love. But there's also those moments that are in between, those passing things that I can get up and go to the bathroom here, and I'll come back, and it'll be back at a funny point. That being said, for this to be one of the first big things that Martin Short did, and watching him team up and kind of at more points than not, I would say, steal the show from heavy hitters like Martin and Chevy Chase. I mean, that's crazy. So I love it. It's so fun. It's still nostalgic for me. It's still very enjoyable. It's one that, again, I don't know how much I love to revisit it, but I like to see it when it's on. Mm-hmm. If it's on TBS, I'm going to probably watch from wherever it's at, right? I can pick it up. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give this a 7. I'm going to stay exactly where I am, a 7.85.
Nice.
Damn. Yeah. I'm glad you guys gave it a higher rating. I did have, it might have just been because I was really tired and had a sick family the last week and had a lot going on, but like I fell asleep pretty much every time I watched this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the movie's fault or my fault. But whenever I would turn it on, I was still so excited to see these funny bits. The whole first half of the movie is like this is a masterpiece. And then it just gets boring to me. The storyline is so fun. It's such a great idea. And then it just is not a great idea. It's like, well, we need to finish it. And I loved the moments that we talked about, but I also don't know how I could rate it higher than some of the other comedies we've done. They were close. They were like so close to doing it, but they weren't quite there. I still am glad. I'm really glad we knocked it off the list. I'm going to give it a 6.25 in comparison to the other comedies we've done. We do got to see what Josh Miller says. It's safe to say this movie certainly doesn't hold up the way I loved it as a kid. It's not a bad movie at all, but I don't think it would be a good movie if it were made today. I actually don't think it would get made today unless it were a streaming original. It still has its moments, it still has its laughs, and it 100% still has its quotes. But with a critical eye now, I don't know if Martin, Short, and Chase were too much for this movie. That whole Two's Company, Three's a Crowd thing, all these guys were great in bigger roles with less screen competition. Short in Inner Space, Captain Ron, Martin with Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Might be a bit unfair. He had Candy alongside him there. Chase and Aykroyd in Spies Like Us, just to name a few. On to some other stuff. I sure do miss Phil Hartman. Agreed with you, Josh Miller. His delivery and his voice are unmistakable and always on point. Maybe you guys should do a silent movie for a watch party. I just watched part of the original Nosferatu colorized.
Yeah, dog.
I don't know if it's creepier than the remake simply because of its age, although the remake is out of this world good and needs to win some awards. To finish up on the Three Amigos, it's a fine movie. It should make you chuckle here and there. There's nothing that is bad about it, but outside of a few of the quotes, there's nothing great about it either. It's just as Sean says, it's a movie. Modern day score 6.35.
Okay.
So as a group, we are a 6.99 on Three Amigos, which is going to take this. We've done over 200 movies. It's going to slide it into the 128th spot. It is not as good as The Great Outdoors, but it is slightly better than The Burbs.
Oof.
It's a triple feature in that world for sure.
Oh my God, yeah. In a world that this is better in The Burbs, I can definitely see that. That is a more of a niche movie for me, I think.
That's really hard to compare those movies.
Yeah.
They're all great in their own ways.
But definitely not as good as Great Outdoors. I do agree with that.
Yeah. Well, everybody, so glad you were here. Tune in next week. We are going to be doing Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Followed by The Crow.
Oh,
Is that the completion of the Trench Coat Trinity?
Coat. The Trent Coat. Trench Coat Trinity.
Trent Reznor coat?
It's the completion of it. You're not going to want to miss this one. A lot of people excited for that. New to the podcast, go back this time last year, Office Space. That was a very fun episode.
Fuck yeah.
Love that movie.
That was a great episode, yeah.
Well, we got to thank Logan, the invisible swordsman. The invisible swordsman on the controls. Learn more at uploadmediagroup.com. And check out our network, cloud10.fm. You want to say bye, boys?
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I'm kind of stuck with my stuff.
Whatever,
here.
dude.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Love you.
Thanks again for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube here in the studio, hanging out with us live and in person in the studs. Check us out on social media. Search for Confused Breakfast at Confused Breakfast anywhere on social media. And please leave us a review. 5 stars on any platform that you're listening on. Write us a comment on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Write us a review. We love to read them.
Go to confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the merch that we have. You can see the shirts. We have new shirts up there. It's awesome. I believe it. You can go to confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the ratings of the movies that we have covered. You can see AJ's ratings. You can see Mike's ratings. And you can see my ratings and the show's ratings overall. Goodbye. I love you.
Thanks to Brian on the controls here at Upload Media Group. Learn more at uploadmediagroup.com. And learn more about our network, Cloud10, at cloud10.fm. We love you so much. Go on to the next video.